This year marks an important milestone for me because come September, it's 10 years since Mrs. Disgruntled and I got married. So we've been trying to think what we're going to do to mark our first decade as husband and wife. Truth be known, it's more than likely we'll just jump on a plane and fuck off somewhere hot. But as the world of 2024 is very different to how it was in 2014, it's got me thinking, if we were getting married this year, would we do things differently? Because weddings, and in this video, when I say weddings, I'm referring to Western, either secular or Christian weddings, they have the potential to be some of the most socially awkward events ever. If you're a guest at a wedding and you're not family, you're condemned to spend the entire day making small talk with people you've never met before and crucially will never meet again. There's also a chance you'll get lumbered with, say, Great Aunt Enid, who's senile, who will spend the entire day trying to find her husband, for you to discover at 10 o'clock that night he's been dead for 22 years. It's why I think that weddings are one of the only occasions when it's socially acceptable to be drinking heavily at 2 in the afternoon. So, if we were getting married in 2024, one thing I think we'd change is we lean more heavily on a wedding planner or wedding vendor. And that's sort of the point of this video, because there's a TikTok video coming up, which is one of the cringiest things I've ever seen. So we'll endure it, and then I'll dismantle it.
I'm an alternative wedding vendor. I'm gonna get you a bounce house for your wedding. I'm an alternative wedding vendor. I love that you want to have a first sword fight instead of a first dance. I'm an alternative wedding vendor. We're gonna have a drag queen MC. I'm an alternative wedding vendor. We're gonna get your whole polycule involved in your wedding day. I'm an alternative wedding vendor. Hell yeah, you can have your wedding at a haunted house. I'm an alternative wedding vendor. I know which chairs fit fat bodies. I'm an alternative wedding vendor. Of course we're going to have an introvert corner. I'm an alternative wedding vendor. You never know what color my hair is going to be at your wedding.
So let's get the cheap shots out of the way. I bet her favourite decoration that she owns is Han Solo in carbonite, and that she'll meet her end near the pit of Sarlacc, being strangled by Princess Leia. And she says she knows which chairs fit fat bodies. Yes, I bet she does. If I had to guess which chair was hers out of a wide selection, I'd go for the one where the legs are made of 2.5-inch steel box section. Anyway, in that clip we saw a number of themed weddings, and they are very common. When the wife and I got married, we had a theme. We're both metalheads, so our table plan had the names of our favourite bands. But that's it. Nothing as insufferable as what we just witnessed. So let's do this. Getting a bounce house for your wedding. Well, every bounce house, or bouncy castle as we would say in the UK, without exception, on its interior absolutely stinks. And that's because their primary purpose is to be used by shoeless, borderline feral children who aren't able to control their bowels. And also, I think the big day would be slightly ruined if all the guests at the wedding had to shout at each other so their voices could be heard over the constant thrum of a diesel-powered air compressor. Having a first sword fight instead of a first dance. Now, unless that's a euphemism for something which two homosexual men may do, that sounds like an exceptionally bad idea, because the first dance usually takes place quite late in the proceedings. After everyone has been drinking champagne by the gallon, it might not be a good idea to then break out the medieval weaponry. I mean, what could go wrong? Next up, having a drag queen MC. Yes, because what every wedding needs is a cross-dressing weirdo. And if it's a straight wedding, if it's the husband who's insistent on having a drag queen there, I think the bride, in the near future, will learn a painful lesson. That he's not as straight as he said he was. The polycule comment, I have no idea what a polyamorous wedding would look like. Aside, of course, from the extremely disappointed faces of the parents. Look, darling, our daughter's getting married to 3 men who are also marrying each other. By the time this night is over, our little girl will need to get hosed out with a pressure washer, and she'll be left with a vagina like a 2-man tent. Our portly friend mentioned getting married at a haunted house. If I got an invite to that wedding, words cannot express how much I wouldn't want to go. because it would entail spending an entire day with people who believe in ghosts. You can't get married at a haunted house because there's no such thing. No one has seen a ghost, you're half asleep and your brain is playing tricks on you. The things that go bump in the night, that's old plumbing and an overly active imagination. And should you meet someone who says they're psychic or a medium or they can communicate with the dead, they're either a con artist or just good old deranged. Having an introvert's corner does seem unnecessarily cruel, because that's something that will just occur naturally. Having a sign up is akin to asking certain wedding guests to walk around carrying placards reading, "I am socially awkward and lacking in interpersonal skills." And her final comment, "You never know what colour my hair's going to be at your wedding." Why the fuck is she making it about her? Actually, I guess many people's eyes would naturally be drawn to her, because given her size, if she span on the spot, she could generate her own gravity. Now, that very cringy TikTok, where she's trying to be kooky and fun and needs to keep reminding us every 5 seconds that she's an alternative wedding vendor. I've got a couple of scenarios I'd pitch to her, and I'd love to see her try and execute them. Hello, my fiance and I, we're both devout Christians, or devout to a certain branch of Christianity. So we and all our guests will be wearing long white robes with pointed white hoods, with holes cut out for the eyes. We'd like there to be burning crucifixes throughout the entire day. And please be aware that during the speeches, we'll be talking extremely loudly about the lesser races. Would it be possible for you to organise a lynching? Or, alternatively, what we're thinking for a theme is Germany in the late 1930s. We'd like to be married by someone who looks and sounds like Adolf Hitler, but if you can't get the Führer, we'll consider Joseph Goebbels, or maybe something completely left field like Field Marshal Rommel. My fiancée and all the female guests, they'll be dressed as traditional Aryan housewives. I'll be resplendent as an SS general, and all the male attendees will be dressed as stormtroopers, giving the impression of an elite Nazi death squad. And just to make it really authentic, what we'd like you to do, after we've exchanged vows, the first person who stops clapping, we want them shot. So that's the end of this video, and my advice on why you shouldn't get married under the guidance of a self-obsessed TikToker. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and as ever, thanks for watching. Shut up, you noisy fucker. It's been 10 years since we began fuck that up again. Bounce house, or fuck it. Trapped wind. Go bump in the night. In this case, it's that farmer. What we've been doing. Oh, nearly dropped the phone. You're basing our wedding on our joint favourite film, Predator. Well, the drag queen's already there. Honestly meant to believe that the most... fuck that up as well.